We show up to the place, and he's like, let's bring your guitar inside. He's like, Ryan, bring it inside. And I'm like, dude, you don't do that. In America, you don't just walk into a bar with your guitar and expect to play like that. I mean, my ego was like on fire. My pride, like I had won some awards and I had a record deal, and I'm like a touring artist in America. I'm not gonna walk in a restaurant with my guitar and expect to just play something. Hey guys, I want to tell you about how I get my gigs in Norway, how I started playing out there, and how I started doing this teen music camp. About 7 or 8 years ago, my mom calls me and she says, hey, I want to go on a vacation or whatever. You want to go with me? And I said, well, I spent most of my youth in Hawaii, so the idea of sitting on a beach and just hanging out didn't really appeal to me. At the time, I was touring a lot across the Southwest, leading my own band, and I was really in this like work mindset. But she said, no, I want to go visit the Norwegians. So I decide to do a little vacation / adventure to Norway, and we're staying with these family friends. Now, little backstory on that. They actually would come visit my mom every summer, and this was back in the 90s, so I just thought it was normal that a European family would come and just speak their crazy moon language and just be this like fun-loving foreign family staying with you. I thought that was a normal thing because my mom was doing that with this particular family in the 90s. Fast forward, we're on this trip 30 years later, and the Norwegian family is just totally taking us in and treating us like family, which is great. So we're, hanging out or whatever, just enjoying ourselves. One day we decide we're going to go out to this lake where there's this restaurant on the lake. And I'm like, okay, let's go, whatever. And Henry, that's the dad, he goes, Ryan, bring our guitar. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking like, I'm in a totally different mindset, and you'll see in a second what we're talking about. We show up to the place, and he's like, let's bring your guitar inside. He's like, Ryan, bring it inside. And I'm like, dude, you don't do that. In America, you don't just walk into a bar with your guitar and expect to play like that. I mean, my ego was like on fire. My pride, like I had won some awards and I had a record deal, and I'm like a touring artist in America. I'm not gonna walk in a restaurant with my guitar and expect to just play something. Like that just was so far out of my mind. I couldn't even think of something like that. But I'm thinking, oh well, when in Rome, there's basically no one in this restaurant or whatever. I'll do it. And it didn't feel right, but I was like, I'm going to go with my friend's advice. We get in there and we're having some food. And so I pull out the guitar because, he was like, play. I'm like, there's no one in there. I'm like, what is this going to do? Anyway, I start playing some Johnny Cash. The bartender comes out from behind the bar with her phone, and she's like shaking. She has like goosebumps, chicken skin, and she's filming me, and her eyeballs are shrink wrapped with tears. She's like on the edge. She's having an experience. I'm just playing some Johnny Cash that I play all the time in the States. She's having a real experience, and that's when it hits me. It's like, oh, okay. This is a substantial experience for people out here, where I'm touring across the Southwest. Everyone's kind of numb to it. There's a whole different context around music and musicians in the States. And I'm over here, Mr. Jaded. I didn't realize that it would have this impact. She sends that video, the bartender sends that video to the owner of the bar. 10 minutes later, she comes back and says, he wants you to play here tonight. The owner wants you to play here tonight. It's a Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. And I'm like, okay. They're like, how much money? What would it take? And I'm like, well, do you have a PA system? They're like, don't worry about it. Well, at the time, and this is kind of still the case, Facebook was a real thing out there, and it's such a small community. The population isn't that big. We're talking small town, rural area. The bartender puts the video on Facebook. That night, I show up to do the gig. There's 200 people there to see this American play in this barn restaurant, real rustic vibes next to this beautiful lake. I'm blown away. I'm in a different universe, okay? And let me explain how different of a universe it is. When you play in America, like anywhere in the world, you cut into Sweet Home Alabama. If the bar's full, there's going to be some rowdy people that scream. As soon as you cut into Sweet Home Alabama, that was happening with Elvis, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, all the stuff that I love. So I'm in this like completely different universe of people really partying and having a great time to the thing that I love. So, you know, in America, you get mixed things. You're like half the bar is on their phone or whatever, and you know, people have seen it. It's not such a big deal. I was in this like incredible environment of people just like really enjoying what I was up to and just enjoying life. It was amazing. Keep that in mind, because after that, my friend Henry goes, "Look, next year we should bring your band, Ryan. Let's do it." And I'm like, is this guy crazy? But every time I listened to him, I ended up getting some new thing about music, about experiencing Norway. That's the thing. You gotta really connect with people, and we'll come back to that too. Anyway, the next summer I bring my whole band out, and it's like a different universe. And now typically when you tour in Europe, you have a promoter that is setting up all the gigs, and you have a band or a tour manager who's kind of cracking the whip, making sure everybody's in the van at the right time. You stay in certain band houses and you kind of travel around. It's kind of isolating, and this is the same when you're traveling in the US. A lot of times you just see the venue and the hotel. A lot of driving between spots. On the other hand, I'm over there hanging out with somebody that I know and trust at his awesome house, and we're just like in driving out to all these gigs, and it's really fun. We're enjoying ourselves. However, I start to think to myself, there's too much off time because it's such a rural area. The weekdays, there's not really too much happening. So although it's fun to just hang out and like explore Norway, which is amazing, I have this like work mentality, or this like, what else can we do to make it happen? I didn't want to see the band just, that's what it is. I just wanted the band to be working every day. This is an American vibe, I guess. Anyway, so I tell my friend, look, is there some kids in the neighborhood, some teenagers, maybe we could like coach them and put on a show with them, you know, just kind of do some community project so during the week, because there wasn't really gigs happening on the weekdays. Well, my friend Henry hits me back and he goes, you know, just write down what you want to do, and then I'll see what we can do. He comes back to me and he's like, look, the city government, the municipal government, they want to be a part of this. So now I'm like partially funded by the it's called the Kommuna, like the city government. They're gonna like they're gonna donate some money or throw some money at this American band coming to town and coaching teenagers. Amazing, right? And this all happened while I was actually at the same time in this personal development course where you learn to really express yourself through a community project. So that just was happening. I didn't even intend for that to happen. I was just trying to keep something going during the week, maybe just give back a little bit. Next thing I know, I'm doing a community event where teenagers from the whole county are coming. And so we did this 3-day camp where my band and we work with the teens. And then on the 4th day, we put on a show for their friends and family. Man, it was like lightning in a bottle or something. I didn't know what we had, because it was so powerful to see these kids come together and play. I mean, for them to come out of their shell, for their families to come watch. Most people would tell you that Norwegians are shy or they're kind of reserved. I would say that's accurate. Most Norwegians are like that. Most people would say that until you get to know them, until you actually become friends with Norwegian people, let's just put it this way. Once you become friends with them, you're like family. They'll take their shirt off their back for you. I'm talking in general, right? So there's jerks everywhere. But in general, the friends that I've made in Norway are like awesome, loving people. And there's a community vibe. The idea that this, just from one person suggesting it, all of a sudden there was this community project where the whole city and a bunch of people came in to help. I mean, a bunch of other musicians donated some musical instruments to make it all happen. You know, they put all their stuff on loan to make this cool project happen. This is powerful, because after that, the gigs got way better, and people saw that I was actually there to be a part of the community, or just do something other than just show up and play my songs and leave. And so we've done it now. I think we're coming up on the 5th time. So I'm going back this June. If you're watching this, June of 2025, I'm going back and I'm playing a bunch of dates. Some of the dates are on midsummer, this midsummer week, where there's like a huge bonfire. We're going to be playing in the fjords. It's going to be incredible. Beautiful, pristine, remote island you can only get to by boat. It's packed with tourists who are kayaking in the fjords and all that stuff during this time of year. All these Europeans and different tourists are going to be there while we're playing next to this huge bonfire midsummer. It's a huge event. Anyway, I digress. That's happening. If you're watching this before June 2025, think about coming out there. It's Nærfjorden. That I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Nærfjorden. That's the area that we're going to be playing in. Okay, back to the teen camp, and I'm in the newspaper on a regular basis. People are talking about what we're up to. I was able to do some radio interviews about doing the teen music camp. Not to mention, the gigs are awesome, getting way better. We're playing like these festival type events at city centers, and we're making so many friends. The reason I'm telling you all about this camp and everything is I started to notice, and I noticed this throughout my entire life, the more that I focus on empowering other people and giving something to other people, the more opportunities I got. So, I mean, it could even sound like a selfish or like a scheme in a way, but if you just look at look, no matter what, as long as I'm making sure everybody in my life is winning, I'm going to be okay. In fact, I end up thriving. So what I'm suggesting is wherever you're at, let's say that you're feeling stuck. For a musician, it's a lot of focus on yourself. My music, how can I get better? What did they think of my singing? What did they think of my song? It's a lot of focus on you, and you kind of need that to really get it to the place where you can perform it. But that's a pitfall that a lot of musicians fall into, is that they just hang out in this it's me. What's happening with me? It's me. I'm great. Am I great? It's a lot of thinking that's all inside here. But if you can actually put yourself out there with the people watching and see what's going to improve their life, what's going to make them, even if it's just a gig, what's going to make these people have a great time. I'm not talking about just being a DJ and playing whatever cover song. But look, a lot of these people are maybe in this age bracket and they probably like this type of music. Let's try it. Boom. Now people are engaged with you because none of us are alone. We live in America we're all isolated. But if you can make that human connection, that's what they're so thirsty for that, because we don't get that as much. We're all on our phones all the time, especially the younger generations don't even know how incredible live music can be. Most of the music they consume is on a phone. Anyway, empower some other people. What can I use my talents for to make other people have an incredible life? That's where I get most of my opportunities. In fact, the publishing deal and the record deal I got, look, I'm going to stand by, my songs were great, but I wouldn't have had that opportunity to even show my songs if I wasn't really close with this particular family. I was teaching guitar to the granddaughter of this particular family. Me and that family got super close just because we were sharing something so important, music, and the passion and experience of life that you get through music. I got super close with this family. They happen to know somebody in Nashville. That whole thing came together. So if you're sitting alone wondering why the hell my career isn't working out or why can't I get gigs, take the case that it's you isolating yourself. You got to share yourself, and it's hard because you want it to be good. But stop thinking about you so much and thinking about what can I do that will lift people up. So this is, I believe, the 7th trip that I'm going out to Norway this summer. And I really just wanted to share with you how I've turned this one idea that even I was resisting in the beginning into this incredible experience that not only do I get to have a great time and meet a bunch of cool people and see a cool place, there's a bunch of people in the world affected in a positive way. One of the kids, the last thing I'll tell you, one of the kids from the first camp, this guy was in his shell. I think it was 14 or 15. He's staring at his shoes, not very outgoing. 2 years later, I go back to do the camp again. This dude is leading the band. He's cut off sleeves, total metal guy, just outgoing, just all over the place, living his life to the fullest, killing it. The next time I come out there, for the third camp, he can't make it. But he comes to one of our gigs and he tells me, because of you, I have this incredible life of being in bands and playing all the time. Like, because you came to this small town and he gave me a lot of credit. And I, of course, put the credit back on him. Like, you did that, man. Yeah, I maybe had the band, but you're the one that kept progressing, and you started your own band after we left. So, he tried to give it to me that, I had this, I'll take it. I had an impact. But some people, they just need that one conversation to set them on a completely different path, especially young people who are into music. Most people under the age of 30, 25, they haven't really seen a live band, let alone experience how incredible it is to have your own band, to make a song together. Some of the young people who are, even everyone who's playing music now, they're sitting in front of YouTube, which we love YouTube, but that's all they get. They're playing along to a backing track in front of YouTube. They don't have that incredible experience of really playing music and creating something spontaneously with another person. Not to mention the incredible feeling of you're making something spontaneously and people out there start dancing or start moving or having some experience. It's about human connection, you guys, and we're missing that in this world. We're all on our phones all the time. I'm telling you, get out there, meet some people, share yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. Sing out of tune, laugh, dance, share yourself. Anyway, I'm going out to Norway again. I'm having a great time. We're now friends with other bands, so one of the gigs is going to be this guitar festival. And if you are in the area, you want to come out and you want to check out this midsummer gig, it's on, I'm looking at the calendar right now, it's June 23rd in Deerdal. 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 And that's in the region of Nærfjorden. You want to come hang, you can either get a hotel, a bougie hotel, or you can rent a tent and you can kayak to this small little island that we're going to play at. It's going to be huge and it's going to be incredible. It's about 75, 80 degrees. I think in June it might even be hotter than that. And it's just this adventure you can go on. So if you want to do that, you can even send me a message or a comment and I'll give you more details about that gig. But I urge you guys, get out there, share yourself, make some music, and thanks for watching.